What a lovely day! Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Members Only Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel and you're watching after the fact, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to take part with these members only live streams. Now, due to technical issues which are ongoing, I'm having multiple live streams as I slowly turn all the notches back up on my computer, having had a disastrous failure. So hopefully with the next notch turned up, we can rejoin the conversation with Discord and G+, and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I monitor a load of bells and whistles. I'll pass over to them and unmute all their lines.
Up the sandwich you must be able to hold.
Well, after you finish the soup, you can then proceed to eat the sandwich, which is slightly soggy on one side.
With no soup in it.
Oh my God.
You found.
I'm going to say it again. Is this really what you talk about when I'm not here?
Yes.
Well, I can change the subject.
We don't go this far.
Hold on. After 9 long weeks, I am finally going home to my family Sunday. Woohoo!
Congratulations, bro.
You can have a soup sandwich to celebrate.
Well, first things first, you all need some mic vigilance. No. You're all sitting off mute talking happily like I'm not here.
Yeah.
How dare us?
So that wasn't rhetorical. Is that genuinely how you normally talk when I'm not around? Like after the show?
It's about as dumb as that. Yeah. Not all the time, but it goes off into some stupid directions. Now, I don't entertain that shit. I'll get up and leave and I'll come back and I'll let it go for a little while and then I'll put the hammer down.
You just let D-Rubs and me back and forth for half an hour and you'll live on another planet.
Stop it, Chewie. You talked about the phonetic alphabet, the grunts,
That's important stuff.
That's not important.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good information. That's key information to know.
It's informative, yeah. And so is soggy soup sandwiches, because it's an idea. It's a good cuisine idea that somebody want to make that. That's Darwin's thing.
I didn't do that. He ran with that stupid shit.
Yeah, and you can actually take a sip of the soup and eat a part of the sandwich then at the same time also.
What if I want to share my sandwich, Arwen, with somebody? Can we slice it in half and have half each?
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, that's a shit sandwich.
No, it's a sandwich you can't cut before you finish the soup.
You can't cut the sandwich. What happens if you want to have half later?
Well, then you got to finish the soup.
This business plan is flawed.
No. What I was thinking, just hit me. Just give me a second. It would be really cool to like have you guys come over here, like Nathan, you, Arwen, come over, and then we meet somewhere here. Wouldn't that be cool?
Are you planning to kill me?
You mean meet in a server, or you mean meet physically in person?
Physically in person.
Oh yeah.
3 people.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure that'll happen. It is.
I'm sure that'll happen.
I mean, it just depends which route you want to go. Now we've basically taken over Flat Earth. I mean, maybe the people will want us to do like seminars and meetups.
I know. No, because we take over, we'll get the boat that Dave Weiss has got, and then we'll be able to just sail over.
Now then they got us all in one location, and they could take us all out.
No, but I was serious when I told Nate. I said, if I go across the pond, I'm gonna holler at him on Skype, and he was like, "Sure." I didn't know whether he was serious or not, but yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. Just to have the tour guide would tell me where not and where to go, so I don't want to go the wrong place,
I like
I like
Adam infers he's got some use for a boat, or me for that matter. We're completely landlocked, both of us.
We'd have to get to the boat.
Is it an icebreaker?
Then it'll be Nathan.
Sorry, did I have my name? Does someone need the height of a star?
Wait a second. Maybe somebody on board already knows the height.
And if they don't, surely if they got a photograph,
Yeah, you got
like
the
the photograph
photo.
was taken.
Hold on, stop, Adam. Hold on. Put down that sextant. I've got bad news. You can do F all with that angle.
I was just going to ask, didn't they come in a few months ago with that same nonsense? We straightened them out with that last time?
Yes, yes and no. Right. Number one, remember, I am a bastard. Therefore, upon Bev being, I don't know, 3 foot deep in his what we're going to be doing with angles, I then took the opportunity to point out what a clown he was by pointing out that his last visit contained the statement, quote, "You can do with an angle." Yeah? Well, that was me rubbing it in. He didn't come back with that argument. He came back with what he'd be doing with the angle argument, obviously.
See what I mean? How weird it is. Of all the weeks to come back in and make another arse of yourself. See,
Did you hear his departure? Oh, don't you worry, Nathan. You won't be seeing me again. All right. So what are we having for tea tonight?
Well, that was shocking to me because Eli just said a few days ago that he was in there and he was getting their attention, guys like Effie Montreal, and now all of a sudden they come in like gangbusters today. I don't get it.
That's why I believe. Why wouldn't we? It's like I believe that's why Adam or whoever said it sounded like deja vu. I think because a little bit, if he heard any part of it when Nathan was rubbing it in by saying you can't do with an angle, it sounds just like he was playing a recording of months ago when Bev was on here. Because I remember being present, hearing that back and forth quarrel, and those same exact words were used.
I'm still confused as to how, after Nathan described what you do with the angle once you get it, why he then said, that's not something I think you can do. Meaning celestial navigation.
No,
so again,
yeah, you're missing a bit in between. So you mean
It's just an angle.
after I've pointed out that he simultaneously holds the argument that he can do nothing with that angle, why at that point he's got to try and argue for what he's going to be doing with the angle, but simultaneously say you can't do anything with it. Yeah, that's bastard me. That's why.
No, but I'm saying it sounded like to me he was saying that celestial navigation isn't a thing. Like people aren't doing what you're describing they're doing after you get that angle. It's very weird.
Yes. When I went through acquisition of an angle along a horizontal baseline to a star minus from 90 times by 60, and what that would give you, nautical mile distance to the GP of the star, his response was to say, well, that's just ridiculous. That was his response.
Right.
So I then launched into, okay, well, you are but one man, and while you might think it's ridiculous, it's saved thousands of lives. So who cares what you think? And that's when, exactly at that point, I launched into, from the man who gave us you can do nothing with an angle, and it went from there.
Right.
that baseline is this trouble, you see, which is probably why we need to decry celestial navigation. If we realize that the baseline is flat and it's commensurate with sea level that is flat, you clearly can't do celestial navigation because there's hills and mountains.
Oh, that's why he's so upset.
But isn't it because, didn't he say mean sea level is just a point? It's not a horizontal plane. It's a point off a vertical datum.
Wow.
And then
So
didn't like when Nathan said, well, in reference to a horizontal plane, he didn't like that very much. But I don't know. I don't know how that's an argument to anything.
It's argument ad ridiculum. Yeah, it's taking it to a point of ridiculousness. So he's trying to use the nuance that it's a reading sea level that can fluctuate, as if that is in any way commensurate with dealing with the statement of it being flat. Yeah, that you actually take the measurement to create it flat from a point source. Well, maybe you do, maybe you know what I mean, and then that's debatable. But it's and this is what we're facing. We're not discussing any of the real things, are we? With any of these chumps. And that's why it's interesting. This guy's coming with the same crap that he got battered with last time, and he's reasserted it. What is going off? It just smells. It's just ridiculous argument.
Well, it's just like a baller's too, because he kept chanting. I counted 3 times that he said, Earth's not flat. You know, keep chanting like the ballers.
Yeah, well,
Earth
what you're
to the
calling
sphere.
chanting is called a baseless assertion, especially in the face of a request for proof. Yes, you can have both those lollies. Give one to Eleanor. Yeah, you can. Just give me a sec.
The only thing I can think is what Jaron accused us of doing, Nathan Show of doing, it's just to attack people to try and get some views. So they're either all got together and said, let's just have a go at Flat Earth debate this week, or they've been an opportunist, has decided, oh, there's lots of viewers, I'm going to get myself in there and pimp my...
They're hot right now.
Yeah.
They're hot right now. Let's jump on and attack them like everybody else.
Whatever cost, it doesn't matter. I've not refined my argument. I've not improved it. I've not actually got a rebuttal from the last time I ran away when Tenth demonstrated I was actually a direct liar. I'll just go on there, and whatever happens, it doesn't matter, because I might get a bit of press out of it, or publicity, and a few more subscribers.
Why does he always turn up with a couple of cucks in tow?
Wow.
He's the Pied Piper to them, Nathan. But I'm so glad that David Weiss, what was it, about 4 years ago, said, I can't get enough of that flat earth debate. And I happened to be listening. Otherwise, who knows? I might be on that other team.
Yeah, it doesn't work so well when he shuts down people who are asking him specific questions about specific arguments we have, and he tells them we're not watching, and then shuts down any discussion that involves us whatsoever. You know, stark contrast.
I think a lot of it is if they get in a spot, the other one can jump in, what you call white knighting.
Oh,
Might be why they're traveling back.
Right.
Called lack of confidence in your own abilities.
Yeah, I think so. But sometimes, you know, beaters can gather up a little crowd. Well, that's cool.
I'd like to look at a grand conspiracy, but I think it's just more opportunistic behaviour from Bev today.
Yeah, it's just being on top. That's all. Nathan, did you call? Because it was going in and out. But did you call Whitson a little tosser the other day?
You call him what?
A little tosser.
Tosser is a word I use, possibly.
I think you did. I was cracking up.
Tosser is the same as wanker.
Little tosser.
Just means the same as wanker.
Yeah.
More polite though, Nathan.
Tosser's better, yes. It probably is not getting censored out the algorithm. Closed caption, sorry.
YouTube's closed caption is garbage anyway.
Right, drug busters. What's that all about? It's not like globe
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's not like me saying globe busters is in any way unclear. Globe is a word we use frequently. Busters is a very common word. So to say globe busters and have drug busters appear in the closed captions, somebody at YouTube's taking the piss.
Any Globers in Discord want to tell us how we live on a magical spinning water ball?
That'll be a miracle if somebody stumbles in. They'd be lining up now.
That's a motley crew.
I don't
and
know. I think I'd rather.
Nobody's piping up.
I would rather a flat earther come in and tell me how there's no such thing as a horizontal plane. That would probably be better.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Like just now.
Yeah, because Bev and his crew, they may not call themselves flat earthers, but everybody else does. So when they say stuff like that, people are just laughing at them.
Is that Bev's main selling point? You can be a flat earther, but you don't have to call yourself one. Is that the main thing he's got going for him? So you can
Seems to be a USP, or his point of distinction that he wants to make. I'm not sure. Yeah, that is it. But why? I don't know.
Because there's a ridicule of flat earthers that if you can say, "Oh no, I too," it's back to that beta behavior. He wants to slot into society and be able to shrug shoulders with them and go, "Yeah, stupid flat earthers." I don't know. It's a certain shame that's attached for some to have to reluctantly admit that they are under the understanding or belief in most cases that the earth is flat.
You think it's embarrassment as opposed to look at me, I'm special?
Embarrassment through lack of understanding. So there was a point, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or something, when I was so past it that I'm like, why would I ever concern myself with somebody having any reaction to this? It's like, you're so self-assured. In other words, at the same point that I stopped concerning myself with globers and their feelings, right? In other words, it's all water off a duck's back by this point, because I know it's flat. Nothing anybody's going to say is going to demonstrate beyond what we have proven and measured and all the rest of those things. So you stop really concerning yourself with it at that point. But that means that if someone chats with me about it, my confidence level when they're talking to me about it will be off the scale, because I'm almost indifferent to it, right? But if you're not at that level, as derogatory and as demeaning as that sounds, you've got a lack of confidence in Earth being flat or the ability to prove that to next man. You won't be able to, as I did with Bev. Well, what's your flat Earth proof then? The measurement of a flat Earth. Here's my example. Well, that's ridiculous. Well, that's a lovely hand wave, but that's a flat Earth measurement that I'm totally confident in and can easily power it off with dogged assurance that is going to be convincing anybody who's listening, as this is going out to an audience. And at the end of it, I'm unfazed by your fundy muting that's gone on while I'm saying it, because I'm confident. You shouting me down is not going to change my confidence in my proof, but I am confident about it and always will be. If you are not, you want to look for ways of not having to find yourself in that position where you might actually have to defend what you know to be true. That's all it is. It's pathetic. What you don't have to go into society and defend what you know to be true. You wouldn't be thinking that way if you knew it was true, but clearly you don't know that the Earth is flat. You believe it. Most of the people in flat Earth believe Earth's flat. None of us believe Earth's flat.
I got a modus tollens. I reformulated Bev's modus tollens into using a toaster. You want to hear it?
Just assume that's a yes.
If a toaster makes toast, therefore I didn't put bread in the toaster, therefore a toaster doesn't make toast.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. I don't allude to the flat plane I'm referencing. Therefore, the topographical differences in elevation with respect to the plane I'm not mentioning means it's not a plane. I didn't put bread in.
Yeah, don't think it's embarrassment. I think it is wokey. I want to be special behavior. Yeah, it's like I'm not going to use the pronoun flat. Yeah, it's I want to be different but the same. Look at me. Look at me. It's just either that or it's just totally insane. But I struggle to see how you can be embarrassed when ultimately you're professing it to anybody of any level of cognition. What he describes is something that's flat, or you resort to whiteboards. Yeah, his level of argument is strange. The only thing I can think is, like I say, it's kind of a wokey behavior where you want to make yourself look special, distinguish yourself with, say, with pronouns or not using a particular word that's the most obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. How are you going to use the writing board as an example, just the macro to the micro? But if you go to the macro and you look at that writing board from one end to the other, it's level. But then you're going to argue and talk about the micro level as far as contradicting that it's not leveled and horizontal. That same writing board, which is in the macro perception.
Well, that's what I tried to make him understand with the topography versus the baseline that topography is measured against. And he wasn't having that.
I take my whiteboard and put some hills on it. Is the whiteboard still flat? Yeah, the micro undulations. Is that whiteboard still flat? I've put the hills on top of. I think I've put the hills on. Is that flat? This is, I say, it's a very weird place to flex your muscles or try and exert some kind of intelligence, intellectual superiority of some description by using this as your battering ram to show that what is it? It's deluded.
Can I just ask Chaiki something? Are you there, Chaiki? Computer related question. May not be there. You there, Chaiki?
Oh, he's there.
He is there. Can I ask you a quick question? Overclocking, undervolting question.
That was a question already.
That was a question. Okay, I'll ask my question. You don't have to answer it. Feel free. Right, I've turned up every notch bar one, right, which is specifically with this relation to the CPU. I've turned the power limit down, but I haven't yet undervolted it. Could it be the case that turning the power limit down and undervolting it could cause instability under certain circumstances?
Told you, it's been a long time since I dealt with this stuff.
I didn't understand a word of that. Is it me? Is it
It's
my
been a
line?
long time since he's dealt with this stuff.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll take that as you don't know. I don't know either. I have no idea. If
That
that's the problem.
sounded like if I put a banana in the exhaust pipe and rev it really hard, will that be a problem?
No, it's saying if I limit the amount of revs on the rev counter and run it lean, will the running it at lower revs cause a problem?
If I intentionally
sorry, that's
try
right.
to
Will
fuck it up,
running it leaner be a
Will it?
problem at lower revs? That's what I'm asking. Well, thanks. That was really helpful. I'm glad I asked.
Well, you rumpused them.
Let's just say yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes. Yes, it'll be a problem. Don't do it.
I'm going to go with yes too. I'm going to stop here unless this crashes. So in other words, I'm going to rock out the rest of this. Maybe do another hour. My wife's just got back with the groceries, so I'm probably going to be on mute a lot. I'm just not going to turn that last knob. Well, yeah, that's my conclusion.
It's never too late to stop tinkering.
And well, I'm going to stop tinkering now. If this consistently works for the next hour or so, then I'm just going to call it a day. I'm going to go, okay, I will assume that last knob that I didn't twiddle was the problem, and just tell myself that's the case without testing it, and go, well, it's working now. Who gives a shit? It could only be that knob, right?
Have we got Fortnite going or
John was about to say,
are you stressing it?
I'm stressing it now. Yeah, I'm running. Although it's not on the screen for the audiences, I am running a game in the background, just not playing it. If you know what I mean. Yes, it's under the most stress it could be under. It's live streaming, recording, and playing a game, and everything's running, including the monitor and the projector.
The only thing I heard there was you sounded a bit fast, like in catch up, but that could be my end.
Okay, that just probably is your internet.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it at the moment. And what I'm saying is, providing this is a successful live stream, I'm going to call it a day. I'm not going to twiddle any more knobs. That's it. Fine. It can be a little bit hotter.
Are you prepared to put that in writing?
You want? Well, I've had enough of it now. I've been doing it for... What time did the show go out? It crashed at 2:20. What is it now? 20 to 8. So I've fiddled enough now. I'm happy. I thought I'd be giving up after having 3 successful weeks of it not crashing. So now it's not crashing. I'm just going to stop.
Oh, has it crashed today?
Yes, once.
Yeah.
You see, I've been, like I said, didn't really hear anything this afternoon. Okay, that makes a bit more sense now. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, very. It crashed yesterday, and it crashed so badly that I had to reset the whole system with the technician on the phone, Craig. I got it reset, but then obviously you then have to start to introduce all of the different aspects slowly, one at a time. Well, I can't be asked doing that one thing per day, so I've just done multiple live streams and slowly introduced them all. But now I'm at the point where I'm tired, and I'm going, it works, it's live streaming, why bother undervolting the CPU? I've power limited it. I've turned the clocks down on it. What else have I done? I've done everything else. I've undervolted the GPU. Is there anything else? I've turned on the XMP. It's now at 6,000 on the RAM. There's nothing else to turn back on, except the only thing I haven't done is undervolt the CPU. But I'm thinking, if I undervolt it, and it's typically allowed to have as much power as it wants, up to 300, 350 watts, and I'm limiting it to 130, perhaps turning down the voltage isn't such a good idea. Maybe that's why it's crashing. So I'm just thinking, well, just don't undervolt it. Just power limit it and turn the clocks down and leave it at that.
What's the temperature right now?
My banana analogy, I think.
It's like putting a banana into a tailpipe, Adam. Do you understand that kind of analogy, if I put it that way?
That works for... Other than that, past that level of computing, I start to struggle. But it does sound like you're saying, look, I've got it working. I want to see if I can just really kick it in the nuts and see if it still stands up.
It's being kicked in the nuts now. And it's fine. So, happy days. Unless it crashes in the next, let's say, half an hour.
What's its temperature right now? Are you reading that?
Yep. 60C hotspot, 52C average. It's not crashing because of temperature. That's what makes me think it's a lack of voltage. So it happened to keep the screen frozen when it crashed last time, and everything was in the 50s and 60s, really low temps, running everything. So I'm like, it's not a temperature issue.
No, I wasn't saying it was. I was just saying that the temperature issue comes for you, like being in a room with something that's boiling water, you know?
Gotcha, yeah. Well, by not undervolting it, it will get hotter. But I'm already power limiting it anyway, so it can only get so hot.
You have error code from the system?
It can be. It's
Crash
passive.
code?
It's a passive cooler. The reason all these problems occur is because the system's passive, but it has got fans in it. I've put fans in it.
In the logs, in the, how it's called, log viewer, you can see what the reason the computer crashed sometimes. It has a code.
Oh, in the logs. Oh, right. Yes, indeed.
And why can't you have an amicable conversation like this when you're talking about the damn place we live. It's ridiculous. Computers, y'all are nice and calm and
And
cordial.
boring.
Black and white.
I want to talk about soup sandwich restaurants. Damn it!
I've changed my mind,
Talking about
Marvin.
soup
I am in.
sandwich.
I'm
I
in.
mean, listen how Chikey and Nathan are getting along. There's no name calling. You fundy
Talking
ruckus
about
me while
soup
I'm trying
sandwich.
to.
What is a sandwich? It's two breads with something in between. So soup
No,
sandwich will be
No,
two
it's a
soups.
sandwich as a
Two
soup
soups.
bowl.
No, it will be two soups with something in between them, not bread.
No,
soup.
that doesn't work.
Bowl
It's
is the bread.
basically a
Yes,
soup
yeah,
bowl
well.
sandwich.
Sandwich is a sandwich.
Yeah, but you can make it, you can shape it slightly abnormal into a soup bowl and then use it as a soup
Yeah.
bowl.
Well, it's
No, I
just
can make
bread
a
bowl.
sandwich with an apple.
Pretty much.
Can make an apple sandwich. Don't have to be bread. So if you talk about soup, you need soup on one side, soup on the other side, and in between you put something.
Yeah, but those are two
That's
separated
incorrect,
things.
Mikey.
Then it's just soup and sandwich. That's completely pointless.
You've just got soup and like a hollowed out cob.
That you then
How
eat.
is the soup
Yes.
and
It's not a
sandwich?
sandwich then, is
There
it?
was no sandwich
Yes,
involved.
no, it's just not just a cup. It is actually a sandwich that is particularly shaped
No,
and
sandwich.
worked on in order to also double as a soup bowl.
No, words mean things. Sandwich, right, means slice of bread, slice of soup, slice of bread. That's what
No.
soup. Yeah, slice of bread, fill in,
Yeah,
slice
like
of bread on the top. Out on. There's no containment of the filling. That's part of the pleasure of a sandwich. Sometimes it can ooze out. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to watch your top. Make sure that filling doesn't run down your top. Yeah. That's a soup sandwich.
Yeah, sorry, it doesn't work like that.
Usually you don't say a bread sandwich because usually sandwich made of bread.
And then slices of ham, and then that shaped into a soup bowl. That could function. The point is that the soup needs to be able to sit in it without immediately going through it.
Y'all were talking about this when I first come in. How long have you been arguing the validity of a soup sandwich?
We're working.
Got a business plan and everything.
We can't make money from flat Earth. We've got to try in another way.
Aaron, why don't you use a different kind of bread? More like a let's see, you have to bake your own bread. That's what you have to do. You have to bake your own bread.
Of course, it's going to be sourdough bread because that's actually kind of tough. That could really work as a soup bowl if it's compacted enough. So yeah, I've actually thought about this. I know this is what I do.
Hey, Arwen, you don't have a banana or you don't have a Panera bread where you're at? We got soup bowl sandwiches here. Here in
Cool.
America, we got that.
Brian invented it weeks ago.
You just pooped on your idea.
Of course, America has soup bowl sandwiches. They had the moon landing. Right?
Yeah, and Chikey, no one says you have a bread sandwich. You say you have a ham sandwich. Come on.
Oh, yeah, nice looking dog, Chikey. I saw the picture. What is that, a beagle?
And welcome everybody to Soup Sandwich Debate. I'm your host. Let's have a talk about this.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Refracted. How ridiculous. As if you can have a soup sandwich.
Yeah, you can.
No,
You
you've
just
got to
need-
compromise. You've got to compromise somewhere. You've either got to compromise on the soup, or the sandwich.
No.
Something's got to go.
No,
Gelatin is your best hope.
No, you just can't have the soup in between slices of bread.
Why not? Can't I make it
Because
with like
that doesn't
gelatin?
work. But
Yeah,
you
I
can
can
have
have it
a
jellified.
soup sandwich. It's like a sandwich designated for soup, not a sandwich filled with soup. No, it's a soup sandwich, right? It's not soup in between. It's not a sandwich of soup. It's a sandwich for soup, like a
So what's
sandwich
a ham
for
sandwich?
soup.
What's a ham sandwich? It's a sandwich for ham.
Yeah.
What does that even mean, Bev?
Not
You're trying to change
Don't add on me, you bastard. No, I just
You can
explained
do
it.
F-ball with
There
a
is a
soup
soup sandwich. It's just not that the soup is the thing in between the sandwich. It's a sandwich designated for soup.
See, you sandwich denier. You
What,
don't know
you
what a
can't
sandwich
use
is. You all
sandwiches
know
for
what a
anything
sandwich is
other than
always.
only eating. You couldn't like use sandwiches as a like the what do you call those things? A book stopper, or you can use sandwiches to I don't know for all kinds of things.
Go and give a 4-year-old child a hollowed out cob with soup in it and go, here's your sandwich. He'll look at you like you're an idiot.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention the fact that everybody knows you can do F all with a sandwich.
Damn you, Nathan.
Brilliant.
I think we should change the show name.
To what?
Soup Sandwich Debates. This might work.
You need to define sandwich.
See? We're already going. We can't stop.
We got any scientific proof of a sandwich?
No, it's a what is question. Or it's
So we
not
better
even a
have
question,
some
it's
measurement.
just a statement. It's just a thing that you're pointing out.
How do you have sandwich filling pressure without containment of bread?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
I don't know. That's really philosophically quite deep, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. A
No,
hot dog
that's
is
where
a yes. It
geometric
is.
attributes come in.
Yes, as is a hamburger. Both sandwiches.
So a sandwich is a flat piece of bread. It can't be like a bun that's cut in between. That's
Yes, it
technically
can.
not a sandwich
Or
anymore.
a bowl.
No, it is. Just because it's circular doesn't mean it's not a sandwich. If you buy a burger, that is
It has
basically
to be originally
sandwich.
flat.
doesn't have to be flat.
Yes, a sandwich has to kind of be
Okay.
flat, but then you can, after it was flat, shape it into a soup bowl.
No, the burger's correct, right? That is a sandwich. The question about a hot dog is it's not two separate pieces of bread, unless you get the shit cob that's fallen apart already. Yeah,
Okay.
the bun is still joined together.
Okay.
So I didn't.
Okay, stop. So if I take a French loaf, cut it in half, and then cut it almost in half, so it's still connected, and then put a sausage in it, right? That is a sausage sandwich, isn't it, Adam?
No, it's a hot dog.
No, it
unless
isn't. Nobody's
it
going to call that a hot
separates
dog.
bread.
Outrageous. No.
The sausage sandwich, when the bread is no longer connected, when it's two separate pieces of bread, they may, in the past, have been conjoined, but for the consequence of making it the sandwich.
So you're
then
saying
for
unless
me-
I separate one half of the French loaf from the other completely, it is a hot dog. But the moment those two pieces, because I often eat that, and I'm not even joking, halfway through, the bread will detach. Like, it will start off being one piece, but then by the time you're halfway through the sandwich, it's two pieces of bread. Well,
Right.
you're
I think
telling
I
me I
can
started
clarify
eating a
that.
hot dog, but then the rules changed halfway through, and now I'm eating a sandwich. It's just
Yeah,
too
it's a
much
bit
for me to
like
cope
it's a
with.
bit like a caterpillar and a butterfly. Yeah. At the beginning, it's this thing, but at the end, it is. If separation occurs, then yeah, it becomes this. It can metamorphosize into a sandwich
You
without.
are
Hold
not
on,
the
mate.
arbiter of what is a sandwich
think I
with
can
this
fix this.
with this
So if a
separate
hot dog
bread.
can metamorphose in a sandwich, then a sandwich can also be a soup bowl.
No. What
Yeah.
it is you need the bread to be antipodal to the bread. So whether it's one piece or two, it still needs to be antipodal
That's just
of
nonsense.
itself.
If I take two
But
pieces
it
of
has
French
circle
loaf and
sandwich.
put the ham on the curved, crusty side, but then put the other piece so it runs parallel with the two curves with the ham in between. That's just a curved sandwich. It doesn't suddenly mean that it's anything other than a sandwich.
No, what you
Right,
said
but the
is a curved
bread,
sandwich. See, so if you said curved sandwich, there it is. The sandwich can be curved. Don't be
right, but that's
shape
not
it.
what I said. What I said is you have the meat in the middle, and that's going to be your frame of reference.
Okay.
You got to have bread at 90 and bread at 90 when you're talking about the vertical. So as long as you got that, you could call it a sandwich.
No, now I understand. You're saying that the bread has to be antipodal from the other bread with the filling in between to call it a sandwich. But my hot dog example with the French bread has got bread antipodal from the other bread with a sausage in between. I was told it was a hot dog.
Well, I think hot dogs are sandwiches as well, though. So
I said
me
that.
and Adam
That's what I said.
are
That's exactly
opposing.
what I said. It is just a
But
sandwich.
sandwiches really have sausages. Is
No.
it still a sandwich then?
Now listen to this conversation. What kind of sandwich you eating there? Hot dog?
Yeah, it makes no sense, does it? It's absolutely. You go, no, it's a hot dog. What sandwich you got? Oh, give a bit of your sandwich. I ain't got a sandwich. I got a hot dog.
Right, because it's a sausage. So the sausage makes it a hot dog. If it's not a sausage, then it can be a sandwich.
So Adam, because it's a sausage, when you slice a sausage down the middle and lay it flat alongside another sausage on a square of bread with other bread antipodal, that's a hot dog according to these standards.
That's
No,
ridiculous, isn't
because
it?
you
I mean,
cut the
when is
sausage,
that a
it's no
hot dog?
longer an actual sausage. So it's basically, well, like you would smear it out on your sandwich, right? So as long
On your
as
what?
you can't
Sandwich
cut
or
the
hot dog?
sandwich, so hold on. If you cut the
Smear it out
sausage,
on the
it's no
thing you
longer
just
a hot
opposed
dog.
it.
Darwin, stop. You can't do this. You've got to let him make his objection. You can't just carry on rumpusing through with it being a hot dog when he's making an objection.
You're rumpusing me.
He's
When you
rumpusing
were
you.
describing it as a hot dog, you then said you put it on to the sandwich. That, I was just saying it's ball, flat, flat, bally, flat, 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 ball. You were just flipping between the two paradigms.
Now, if you cut the sausage, it's no longer a hot dog. It becomes a sandwich.
No, you can
Yeah.
cut your sausage in half and still stick it in a hot dog bun, and it's still a hot dog.
Not really. It's actually it's a hot dog violation.
Okay. You're down to your last two buns. You got 3 sausages left.
Yeah. Well, too bad. Somebody's gonna have a sandwich.
No, somebody, you slice that dog in half, don't you? And you put it in. I've got a sliced dog in there. Did it now stop being a hot dog? Because I got.
Yes. Correct.
See, where are you going?
Yeah, that's right.
Look, this. See, that you're denying hot dogs now. You're denying an extra load of hot dog.
Hold on. There is the ultimate
really-
arbiter. I can now ask Google.
Frankfurter. It's Frankfurter.
Actually, I can't. My iPad's run out of battery.
It's legally true that if you cannot, as a hot dog vendor, you cannot cut the sausage because then it's legally not a hot dog anymore.
Legally, we're now
Yeah.
into legal realms, are we?
Yes.
We Brexited a while back. It's not in our law.
There's
We're out of
been
Europe.
brawls over this.
I would like to know the legal ramifications of cutting a hot dog, though.
Makes it a sandwich, apparently.
Exactly.
In Europe, only in Europe.
And it becomes a copyright violation
We
because
wouldn't
you're
have any of these
misusing
nonsense laws.
word.
We don't
What
have
I
these
wanna know
nonsense
is
laws
what
in
do you
Proud
call-
England.
American advantage. Uncut sausage bread. Hot dogs.
Aaron, what do you call a hot dog that has not been boiled or put in heat or put on the grill and it's taken right out the pack after being taken out the freezer?
That's the frosted sausage in a bread.
Okay. Thank you.
Frankfurter.
It's not. It has to actually be prepared, or it's not a hot dog.
A hot dog is the type of sandwich you're eating.
Yes,
Subcategory.
that's also important.
That's what we're dealing
Well,
with.
no-
We're just dealing with subcategories. These are all subcategories of sandwich. Burger,
Well,
subcategory of sandwich.
Frankfurter is the actual word, Frankfurt. Can I have a Frank?
But they're all sandwiches, aren't they?
No. Sandwich, by its very definition, is a very specific requirement. Fetch me 2 slices of bread with some ham in the middle. Yeah, that was apparently, as we're told, that's a novel request, to the point that it was given the name sandwich from the Earl of Sandwich. It was his first request, and that specificness, yeah, the two separate slices of bread. Some people might want to jack on whether somebody's just taken a cob and made a slice down it, yeah, and try and take the valor of a sandwich, go along with the glory that a sandwich gives.
That's
I'm not having
edification
it.
fallacy.
It was actually not.
Edification.
That's not true. You're talking about the Earl of Sandwich,
Edification
and it's
fallacy.
not true. It was Francois or France. I don't know how to say that name. Francois Open. Have you ever heard of him?
Sounds a bit French to me.
Yeah, he was the inventor of the open sandwich, and he got there before the Earl of Sandwich.
Yeah. I know sometimes when I'm out of
What, he
bread,
made the open sandwich before the sandwich had been previously
right.
defined as closed.
Right, Mr. Open. You never heard of him?
Nobody cares. He's French.
well, Adam, answer this then. When I'm out of bread, sliced loaf bread, and I still want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I have a hot dog bun, I can still make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, if you cut through.
You damn
the hot-
skippy.
No. I can put on each end of that connected bread, peanut butter on one side, jam or jelly on the other.
Okay.
Without
so what
Okay.
what do you call it? A roll or a
But it's
A
two
bun.
breads put
Is it a
together. with
roll or a
something
bun?
Between.
No.
Why you rumpusing? Why you rumpusing me? Why you rumpusing? You're
He
funny
wants to know
rumpusing.
clarity. Is it a roll or is it a bun?
You mean before I put the peanut butter and jelly inside of it?
Yes.
Before you've
It's called a bun.
It's called a bun. So we take that bun and we make a slice into the bun. Yeah. And then we've not cut all the way through the bun. Still a bun, isn't it? At this
Well,
point.
it's already pre-sliced on one side.
And did the slicing machine do a good job or a bad job?
I
Bad
would
job
say
being
fairly.
it separated the
It's
two
separated easily.
parts.
Yes,
So
very
we've
easy.
no longer got a bun anymore then, have we? We've got two halves of a bun, two slices of bread. Now, can't be called a bun if we've separated it, can we?
Still connected on one other side.
So you
Slice
he
those
clarif-
off,
that's
bread.
why he was quote unquote rumpusing you. He was clarifying that with you, D.
No, I said one side was separated. The other side is still connected. Just
I
like
don't
when
know.
you
We'd
put a
have to
hot
listen
dog
back
in.
to the. We'd have to
it
listen
falls into
back.
it.
It just sounds like he's obfuscated this. We'd have to listen back. I could have swore you said they were separate pieces of bread.
Did it sound like I said? You didn't hear me say anything about Atmo bun. I didn't say bun.
No,
I said-
I'm happy to move forwards with this still connected bun, which has had a slice made down the middle of the bun. And then what are we doing? We're going to take some peanut butter and jam jelly, and we're going to put that in the bun.
No, on one side of each piece of the bread.
Thank
Right.
you. Thank
We haven't-
specificity.
What? So I'm going to put
Hold
peanut
on, Adam.
butter on.
If you can't keep up, just let him re-clarify it. Go ahead, D.
Peanut butter on one side of the bun.
Then I'm going to
inside.
turn the bun over.
And now you just rumpusing. Just let
No.
him say it again.
No.
Sit on one side.
Adam, come
Could
on.
you let me explain?
Hold on a second, D. Rose. Don't make me mute you, Adam. Go ahead, D.
Okay. On one side of the bun is peanut butter, and the other side is you put your jam, strawberry preserves, whatever you like. The bun is still together on one end. Okay. It's like a vertex. It's like an angle without a baseline. One bread going.
I need clarity. I'm confused. So when we say on one side and the other, it's maybe a cultural thing.
Okay, I'll tell you. I know what you mean.
When we say on one side and the other, do we mean on the left and the right hand sides of the inside, or do we mean on the inside of the bun and the outside of the bun, which is still joined anyway?
Both insides, left and right.
We don't
Thank you
ever get
very
to the
much.
point where this gets
There you
clarified as a sandwich or a hot dog or a bun. I mean, at the moment, we're just arguing about this, like without a point actually being made.
I'm just getting clarity
Well, if you
We've
go on
got
Master B, I got a
one-
diagram.
Clarity's fun, as long as we know what's being argued about.
Yeah.
What is it?
Whether
Just let me
it's-
clarify
whether
with D. Just let me clarify. Are you arguing that this is a hot dog? Or are you saying specifically, even though it's now attached where I thought it was two separate pieces, it's a sandwich? Which are you actually arguing for, D? Just be hyper specific.
I'm arguing that it is a sandwich once you do not put a hot dog into it. It is a sandwich because you are putting something between two slices of bread, and it doesn't have to be a hot dog because I used what they see. If you look in Master B, I got a diagram of it. I got a
That's what
hot
Adam's
dog.
arguing. Why are
enriched
you even
buns.
arguing with him? That's Adam's position as well.
No, it's not. So
No.
because what he's trying to claim is by the removal of the sausage that it negates it, and therefore automatically defaults it to sandwich status. I would argue there that if, from what I've just heard, I've got a bun cut in down the middle, but not separated, and on one side I've got peanut butter, and on the other side I've got jelly, I would suggest that that is a peanut butter and jelly
hot dog.
bun. Yeah, because that's what's in front of me. There's no sandwich. There's no two separate pieces of bread. It's
Right.
a peanut butter and jelly bun.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's what I was trying to
And
make
why are
the
we all
point.
agreeing? What the hell's going on? Suddenly, just because it's attached, it's not a sandwich. We're all agreeing with this. Are you having me on?
Yeah.
By definition,
Yes.
yes.
Not by definition. Nobody's defined anything.
This is logical, Nathan.
Nobody's
it
defined
doesn't matter what
Hold
we're
on,
going to
Owen.
have
Owen.
debate about. We're
Owen.
going to agree.
Owen, we had a story about the Earl of Sandwich. We didn't have anything defined. What are you talking about?
Dude, just look it up in Wikipedia. I mean, we're all
Talking to-
agreeing on the right
I wasn't
things
talking
here.
to you. Adam said it's been defined as he said it's by definition. What definition?
I would make a concession. I would say that what I've got is a peanut butter and jelly open bun.
No, he didn't argue that it was like opened out, butterflied out, and then. No, that's not what he's arguing.
No, but an open sandwich is by definition just one piece of bread with just the filling on top. Therefore, it requires the thing to try and claim sandwich status, the status that a sandwich deserves. Yeah, not through empiricism.
You're missing the
Just
point.
through
You're missing the point.
combination.
You're missing the point. Just let me clarify. I thought the point that D Rose was making, that if you take a hot dog bun that's attached, like you would if you were actually going to make a hot dog and put a sausage in it, but you put peanut butter in one side and jelly in the other, you've then got, and I thought this was where he was going with it, a peanut butter and jelly hot dog. No? Was that not where we were going with that?
No, that doesn't make any sense. No.
That's the rules. If
Because-
it's attached, it's not a sandwich anymore.
Nathan, could you do me a favor?
Hold on, this is
Could you go to
modern
Master B?
standards.
Could you go to Master B and show the
Astronomy
slide?
has undergone a whole bunch of changes in the last few hundred years. So whatever the Earl of Aupin did like 200 years ago, it doesn't work like that anymore. The standards have changed, right? Astronomy has moved on as culture moves
Astronomy,
on.
Don't be
So
silly. Don't discern this into absurdum. Right, you're right. It's an etymological fallacy to start claiming what the Earl of Sandwich said a sandwich was. Who cares?
right, so
It's only named after
astronomy
him.
has moved on. That's my point.
Nathan, if you will, if you could please
So,
go to
hold
Master
on.
B
So it
and
was
pull up
named
the
after him?
slides.
So
Pull up the slide.
what?
Let them see it.
So what? As defined.
Yeah,
What defines a sandwich? Is anybody going to actually look this up?
2 slices of bread with something in between them. Period.
Yeah, my wife just
came
rather
back
this to me, same as Adam's definition, the one I ignored.
I don't know why this debate about the sandwich itself, when it's so obvious, right? It is officially defined. I was just merely inserting that it becomes a hot dog if there's an uncut sausage. That's
No,
the
no.
only thing that makes it a hot dog. That was my only original point.
We got there off the back of the soup sandwich. This is really ultimately just a segue. We're all off in the weeds, as Kiwi would put it, right? The main attraction here, the main focus of the point is whether or not you can have a soup sandwich.
Right, and you can by
you
the very
can't.
definition of the word sandwich, right? You have
No, it doesn't
2
meet that
fat pieces of
definition.
bread, and what you do with it then is all yours.
No, it
What
doesn't
if I-
meet. It doesn't meet the definition of a sandwich.
It does.
No, it
I
does
disagree.
not. No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
Does it matter what's inside the bread? The two pieces of bread? It's
Nope.
a sandwich.
No, it just has to fill it.
Right.
Be a
It's
filling.
not a sandwich filled with soup. It's a sandwich designated for soup.
It's a soup sandwich.
Sandwich, not a soup
Exactly.
sandwich. It's a soup sandwich.
You
Yep.
can't fill between pieces of bread. You can't. The process of filling, you can't do. You can't fill it with soup, can you? You've got a bowl
Right.
of soup, and are you going to fill the sandwich
Is-
with that filling?
Is bread not absorbable? Is bread not absorbable?
The soup is not the filling. The sandwich is for the soup. It's not a sandwich filled with soup. That's why it's a soup sandwich and not a soup sandwich. See?
Nonsense.
Oh, that clears that up.
No, he didn't. This is nonsense. Can't have a soup sandwich.
This is specificity, right? Pronunciation matters for the emphasis.
Not filling, is it? It's not going to fit. You can fill a bowl with soup, but you can't fill the gap between two pieces of bread. You can fill that with a piece of ham, but you can't fill it with
That's
soup.
Oh man, I already disclaimed that is not what it is. It's not a sandwich filled with soup. It's a soup sandwich, not a
Part of the
soup
definition.
sandwich.
Part of the
But
definition,
that's
it has the word filling, though, doesn't it?
Well, of course, it does have to have some kind of filling, or it wouldn't be a sandwich.
That's circular
But the
reasoning.
filling is not soup, though.
That's literally circular reasoning.
No, it isn't.
So-
No, it's compartmentalized. The sandwich is not filled with soup. It's filled with something else, but it is a sandwich that's specifically used for soup. It's a soup
Yeah,
sandwich.
but Owen,
Exactly.
you're missing the context as to why when QE says that, why he says that. The sandwich you're talking about, the soup sandwich, in other words, a sandwich that comes with soup, that's different than what you're saying. Than what you're saying is not real, which is a soup sandwich.
Hey, it's the same word. I'm sorry he didn't account for that when he made the original
That's
statement. And I
Hold on,
disagree.
Hold on, I just realised what's
Yeah, but
happened.
I am legally correct.
I've just been hoodwinked by Arwin.
Yeah,
Fair, haven't I?
man. That's why I came out. I'm like, y'all still in the soup sandwich? Oh,
Very
God.
impressive, Arwin.
And if you take a bowl of tomato soup or chicken noodle soup and you pour it onto the inside of one slice of bread, and then you put that other slice of bread on top of it, is that not a soup sandwich?
Well, it has to be hydrated to a certain percentage, or it wouldn't technically be soup anymore. And whatever type of setup you want to arrange like that to have actual soup filling, well, if it was liquid enough to be soup, then it would destroy the bread. It can't work. You can't have, well, it both. Yeah, you can't actually have a soup sandwich. But you can have a soup sandwich.
Excellent work, Arwin.
See?
Can I ask a quick question? Where do you think the next Chancellor will come from? I mean, who's left? We've had Dell, we've had Bev. I proactively went after Jaron to educate him in science, and then it just turned into a shit show attack or re-attack, whatever you want to call it. But do you think there'll be somebody chancing their arm in the not too distant future?
You mean from the flat earthers?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I don't
else is
think
there?
so.
Is it
I-
Rob Skeever's going to come back from the grave and haunt us or something? I mean, what's next?
Oh, maybe if you say that loud enough a couple of times, he will, but let's not risk that. I don't know anybody else that's really left that's like willing to even go against us, even if they did agree. Because there's some of the other guys like Mark Sargent and all that. They're like, yeah, whatever. Right? We just do our thing and you do your thing.
There you go. There's a good one. That's a good one to speculate about. Do you think it could ever be the case that Mark Sargent would suddenly come out of the woodwork as an anti-FED person?
No.
Negative. Never.
Absolutely not. He wouldn't be able to live with himself if he did that.
By contrast, I don't think you'd ever hear Mark come out as an anti-Globusters person either. Quite the contrary.
No, of course not.
100%.
Now, I
neutral.
can't
He
say,
stated that as his official mission. He's friends with everybody.
I will say this though, Nathan, and we've mentioned his name once in a blue moon. If we were to, or he would come across of his name being mentioned, I would see Brother Sanchez coming on board just to have a little discussion, if you will.
Maybe.
Get it out, Max.
Bro Sanchez and I have tried to get in front of each other several times. Actually, he and I have had back and forths in email that we've just never managed to actually tie down a time because the time zone difference, and he's obviously a late riser. We never managed to get a time that we could both do. So as much as I would love and have it, both of us in fact have proactively contacted each other trying to arrange times, it always just ends up falling apart and not coming off. So it's not for the want of trying. It's just one of those things in terms of time zones, and him being a bit of a late riser, and me being a bit of an early starter, and then the difference in time has just never been good. But there we go. I'm sure
you're
that will
saying
happen.
it's a difference in time problem, right? Or just make it clear there's a problem with the difference in time.
It's a time difference problem. A difference in time problem. Well, like with the difference that we've got between us in the time, that's the problem.
And I would add to that.
What are we, Kamala
Hold
Harris
on,
here?
can everyone shut up? We all clear that there's a
And
time
I-
difference problem.
The time
I
zone
think
problem.
it's
I don't think that's ever going to change, is it? That difference in time either. That's the problem.
That is also
Unless you move.
The difference in time is that in time there's a difference. So to signify that difference in time, we use the difference in time.
Okay, Yoda.
No, that's Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you have to finish with a cackle.
No, I can't do the cackle.
Who is it? Who
It's
are you taking
like
off?
that though.
Yo, that's
I don't know that
another one,
name. Who is that?
Harris.
That's the vice president of
She's a dimwit.
the United States.
The vice president's name is what?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, it's either said Kamala or Kamala. I don't know. She herself has said it both ways, so I don't know. She doesn't even.
Or you could say the dumb llama. The dumb llama.
If you
Harris.
pronounce it in Hindi, it is Kamala.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not how you say it on
Hey.
Juneteenth.
Arthur, I'm glad you said that because Kamala Harris, the vice president, mother is Hindustan. She's from
Say it in jive.
She's what?
She's Hindustan. She's Indian. Her mother, I mean, is all Brahmanism and all that. She's blood like culturally Hindu. Her father is West Indian, Jamaican. I'm not sure what St. Croix or St. Kitty, whatever, but yeah. So for him to say Kamala or Kamala like that, yeah, and that's her heritage from her mother's side.
Some badass curries in that house.
Let me ask you a question. Back to the brother Sanchez. I don't follow the gentleman. I've seen him a few years ago. What would be the discussion?
Well, I don't know, but I think I'm gonna take from what I know about.
Hold on. QE's clocked what's going on straight away. I like that. Very poignant question there, QE. What would you expect to happen were myself and Bro Sanchez to have a little chat? What do you think would happen?
That was the question.
Yeah, I know that's the question. I'm throwing it back out there.
To answer you, being that I've listened to him in the past, but I've waned away from him since I've been with y'all and listening to you. From what I know of him, he's reasonable to listen as long as you don't infringe upon his conjecture or his philosophy or what he's like. Sacred geometry is his thing. Reading signs, symbolism, decoding, all that. So as long as you don't tap in and criticize him, but as far as flat Earth, he's a hardcore flat Earth. He just uses the wrong things, like a lot of the Weisses and all them use. He uses the basic. He doesn't get into celestial navigation or stuff like that. But from what I know of him, he's very, very he yearns knowledge. So the way you present it to him, if it's a discussion, not a debate versus your believer, trust me, he could be such a powerful asset.
Correct. That's what I saw him into. That's what I read in Bro Sanchez. He's got a yearning to understand more and better his argumentation style. So I'm like, yeah, you're a key candidate to talk about. In terms of to answer QE's question, how do I think it would go? I think it would go well as we were on a level where we're just disseminating better arguments. But then it would reach potentially a point where we'd talk about gematria or something along those lines. And either I'd say, well, that's not my thing, and that would be the end of the conversation. Or he'd push the conversation, push the subject, and we'd end in a blazing row. Either way, very entertaining.
Fair enough.
I think I would ask, and I wouldn't, I'm asking D-Rose for clarity here, but from my understanding, if we were talking about some of the black youth that were attracted to certain things yesterday, I think in the after show, he would be challenging those youths. He does have a lot of metaphysical stuff he wants to add, but from what I see, he challenges a lot of that opinion as well.
Yes. So that's why I said stay away from the theologian, biblical, the ancient sacred geometry, any world history as far as, anything that has to do outside of flat earth. Talk about flat earth, he's an inquiring mind. Trust me. All that other stuff, leave alone.
I'll be
Just
standing by
like
waiting
Nathan said.
for. Go ahead, man.
I think it was done.
Okay. I'll be standing by waiting for Jaren to make a video about how Bro Sanchez is also a scammer. Because I remember there was scrolling through YouTube, there was a video where Jaren, I think, was talking to him. And basically, the scientific method was the topic from what I heard. I only listened for like 2-3 minutes. But the scientific method was the topic. And I think Jaren was kind of sideways trying to say you can't prove anything with it. And Bro Sanchez, I think, corrected him on that. And after that, the conversation kind of just moved on. He didn't stop him to say, no, you can't prove anything with the scientific method. Kind of just progressed from there. And I was just like, that's cute. So Bro Sanchez doesn't get called a scammer, but he could sit there right there with him on his panel saying you can prove something scientifically. Yeah. So it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Wondering if he's a
Really
scammer as
weird.
well.
It's not really weird. It's because Brother Sanchez is not using his platform or going on Jeranism or Globus's platform and challenging their use science or whatever they're talking about, flat Earth. So he's not really an obstacle to threaten Jaren's ideologies.
No, but
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I get that, but my focus is right now on Jaren. Like again, keep that same energy, bro. If you're gonna come here and tell us that science doesn't prove things, you can't prove anything, even though you did concede to Nathan about 6 times that you can prove something scientifically. Why are you running around on other platforms saying that you can't? This is the beef. This is the problem that we got. It's just that you're just not consistent with your words, man. Just stay consistent. Keep the same energy for everybody. It's weird that now your people's showing up over here telling us how you're wrong, but nobody's gonna tell you that you're wrong. We just have to deal with you being wrong. Your peoples know that you're wrong, and we're just all gonna just eat that up and just live like that. It's not cool, man. There's no integrity there, and that's where I lose the respect. What respect I did have for you back in the day. I don't know if he's ever gonna hear this, but whatever. Right?
Probably not.
Like that's where I lose the respect because you're not being honest.
Being led by his emotions, so it seems to me, right? And shortly after Bob Nodell died, Cammy had a chat with me and told me how Bob used to listen to the show every single day. And how a lot of what we disseminated in terms of our arguments frustrated him. Now, although she didn't directly say this, she hinted at the notion that the stress we would have caused him with our arguments was a contributing factor to his death. That's what she alluded to, although she didn't specifically say it from memory. I'd have to go and check. I probably will, but you know what I mean. Now, that I put to the back of my mind and got on with things until a couple of days ago, someone in the Discord server said, pretty much, I think Jaren blames Nathan for Bob's death. Now, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I remember Cammy mentioning something along those lines, although she didn't explicitly state it. I got that impression from what she was saying to me. Yeah? Make sense? So,
And I heard you. So you're
yeah.
saying this might run deeper than just the scientific method and whether it could prove stuff or not.
yes, just discredit Nathan because if the guy in Discord's right and what I read from Cammy's reaction when I spoke to her is right, then yes, it could be much deeper than that, which is to say that us undoing Bob's entire shtick, which is essentially what we do when we say, well, yeah, science proves. What's your scientific validity? Sorry, what's your independent variable? If you're peddling, as Bob was, ether with quote-unquote science that you cannot put through the method, and we're daily highlighting how you can't do that, and occasionally mentioning him by name, you can appreciate how that would be stressful. Now, do I have, just for clarity, I'm going to state this right now, do I have the slightest bit of guilt over that? Absolutely not. Us disseminating the truth, if stressful to somebody who's peddling garbage that's undone by us peddling truth, is not my problem. So I'm going to be held responsible because my dissemination of truth has affected somebody who's disseminating lies. No, that is never going to give me anything to lose sleep over. However, for the people around him, if you just put your empathetic hat on, who can perceive it in that way, I'm not giving them a pass, but it is an explanation, would you not say?
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, and it's funny because I remember you used to say in some of your dialogues when you speak, you said, I can go to sleep even though I don't make that much money, but at least I know I'm doing the right thing, speaking truth. How do you feel about that, Rumpus or Rufus? Because you lose a little bit of sleep because you're out there disseminating stuff that is not true, yada 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 yada, but not to the point where outside looking in, people can say you caused this. How much stress? I mean, really? I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Precisely. Let me just back up D Rose. Exactly. We, on a daily basis, would be pointing out the levels of stress in our opponents by virtue of their inability to overcome our arguments. We say things like, share your pain. Is this pain relief? You'll be losing sleep tonight. This isn't going to help you get any more sleep. How's that geometric horizon working out for you? We're not losing any sleep over this. All those sentiments are directed specifically at ballers. However, it's actually the case that anybody who's got an argument we're overcoming would feel the same pain. Now, what I'm suggesting, by what I've been told secondhand, is that pain was felt.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. That's why I made that prediction the day after he passed away, that this was going to reignite the argument or a new wave.
Maybe. Which is at the helm of that new wave, if you want to call it that. Is Witsit especially popular? Because earlier on today, someone was like, you had Matthew Learns on and Witsit. I'm like, I didn't have any idea that Witsit would even come close to be categorised next to Matthew Learns. Not that Matthew Learns is particularly massive. Matthew Weathers, whatever he's called. But that's how it sounded earlier. Is Witsit suddenly really big with ether? And I hadn't noticed.
There is a power vacuum.
What does that mean?
That means there's someone, has been put in the position to speak for the ether. So why not Witsit?
I automatically thought that wasn't just the case, but just ipso facto, it was now Witsit. Am I wrong in that?
He's just taken the popedom, right? He's now the Pope of Ether.
Yeah.
People wanted to hear somebody talk about Ether, and he's very popular with it now.
Did they not just revert back to Ken Wheeler? Like he was the originator.
You know
anyway.
what's crazy to me is that this whole shit could have been squashed years ago if they had just said, all right, look, this is obviously not science, but this is something else that we could talk about. And we could have talked about it every day if you wanted to. That was the only thing that Nathan was going over there to say is like, yo, what you're talking about is not really science, man. This word that's been used as a weapon against us, we've managed to turn it around against them. They don't even want to invoke that shit anymore. And we're just trying to sharpen you up. Because what you're saying is not really science. And then you're getting caught out there. We're just trying to help you out.
Excuse me, Chocolate. Did you not notice that we're using that bloody magic trick you're trying to undo for the ballers? Don't come near us with that shit. We're still using that magic trick.
I mean, pretty much, yeah, exactly. Like, what the hell? It's
I can't remember the answer that was given to me, but I think I asked this before. Isn't the ether argument pro heliocentric?
No, not pro, but it is compatible.
Okay, you know what I mean. Damn,
Depends how many layers you want to go down on those turtles' backs, D.
Right.
So if you want to call it a globe argument, you could say the origins are in a heliocentric paradigm, but that heliocentric paradigm came from a flat Earth.
No, I get you. Which they'll never admit. I get you. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, all of the proponents of ether in the 20th century were pro heliocentric model, not model, on the heliocentric side.
Yeah.
So it's so that's what I'm saying. It's so double stupid for a so-called flat earther to even be riding with it.
Right. Yeah, it's come from a background of people who are either heliocentric or geocentric, regardless, it doesn't matter, but on a ball and looking out to the sky and going, no, your argument that it's space and a vacuum is absurd. It's actually ether.
I don't know. That sounds a lot really
they're
close to
trying,
an island.
like, if you remember what Whitson said, he was trying to say this is a globe debunk. Right?
See, I don't know about that because it's really close to all or nothing fallacy, but, time to ether to that. Because there's heliocentrics that believe in things that are true as well,
Believe.
Yeah, did you know that unicorns also debunk flat Earth? We gotta reify it.
Yeah, that's what he means by all or nothing fallacy. Got to accept this or you won't be debunking the globe anymore, because this stone cold ether argument where the differential rate of induction on a photographic plate when varied at altitude is a stone cold globe debunk. I mean, we hear it on the circuit all the time. Obviously, I can't stumble into a flat earth forum without hearing about the differential rate of induction proving the background medium when you vary a Michelson-Morley experiment at altitude, because obviously that is a stone cold globe debunk, isn't it, lads?
I still don't see how, though.
By using the word altitude, it kind of kills it, I guess, yeah.
The same globe that came from flat Earth elevation angles. Flowers.
But maybe that's
that globe.
Maybe that's the problem. Nobody's going around in the forums arguing about how the differential rate of induction debunks a globe. You don't hear that being said. What you hear is, you can't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. You can't have gas pressure without a container. You'll need a flat earth for that.
Excuse me? Neil's been silent, now Neil's going to speak. First of all, to put any guilt on you is insanity. Bob could not get over the fact of everything that happened at that Netflix thing. That's why he wanted this Easter. I know you know that, but that's why he wanted this Easter to be real, because that's what he was hanging on to. He just couldn't face the facts that he was wrong.
I see. So you're saying in the false dichotomy that is the two sides of two affirming the consequent fallacies. If we see a 15 degrees an hour drift deviation in this ring laser gyro, then the Earth is turning underneath. We do see 15 degrees an hour drift deviation in a ring laser gyro or fibre optic gyro, therefore Earth's turning underneath. Or, if we see 15 degrees an hour deviation in the fibre optic gyro, then we have ether rotation. we do see 15 degrees an hour deviation in the ring laser gyro. Therefore, we do have ether drift. Now, because he's got two sides of a false dichotomy, both affirm the consequent. If his side of the affirming the consequent false dichotomy turns out to be true, he's vindicated for the perceived loss on Netflix. Is that your argument, Neil, or your position?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe.
That is the data that's being used by Witsit.
So you're saying by running around with the data that Bob was defending, if Witsit can defend the honour of Ether, it vindicates Bob on Netflix? That's a bit of a stretch.
I'm saying when Witsit states, I've got millions of readings and all this
Right.
data
It's Bob's.
that shows all these things, I'm suggesting that the data he has is that fog thing that is the initial claim.
It is.
Readings to get. Yeah, I know, Neil. That's what I'm saying. I'm just making that clarified that the data that is all of the proof that Witsit cites is that initial fog data of the second-hand fog they got that they've done these tests with that I was privy to. You know, I was looking up that as you were talking, that trying to find the Excel file with all the readings in, and I've got it somewhere. Mike Kavanagh gave it me. You know, these were things back in the day that we were looking at, but I'm not ashamed of that. But I don't think I'd cite it as evidence. I don't think that would be genuine if that's the data that Witsit talking about. That's this underlying proof that he brings, you know, and cites and shouts about. That's
Right.
concerning if that is the evidence that he's underpinning his theory. That's not really a great deal. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not a great deal to base anything on. Some guys going up and down a mountain doing lots of readings with a unverified thing. If these things worked like that, how the hell and what use would they be in planes? If that's
exactly,
you know. So
but you know, Adam, you know this was driving him crazy. Like you said, you were privy to all of that. You were around.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued what the data is. I suspect that it probably is just that data, which is, like I said, not being honest with people when you describe it the way you've described it, Witsit.
I mean, the other downside to all of this, you know, barrage of Dell and Bev and Dave Weiss and Witsit and Jaren, what's it stopping us from doing? What aren't we doing when we're dealing with this nonsense? Like the use of science for flat earthers, or the upward rising earth, or the non-flat reference to a flat baseline. All this absurdity. What aren't we doing while we're arguing with these other flat earthers?
We're not dealing with
earthers.
We're not
talking about the globe.
Exactly.
Not proving
lack
it's
thereof.
Not proving a flat earth, not debunking the globe. That's what's happening.
I disagree.
Oh, go on.
If we were arguing with the flat earthers, just arguing, we're not. What we've had this past week is the ability to reiterate what science is, what it does, how you can prove things with it. Yeah, that's what we've had the ability to do, and whether your figures are gone up, and it's all out there being discussed and reiterated. A really, really important point. QE alludes to it. It's about arming yourselves. Yeah, it shouldn't take the flat Earth debate team to call this nonsense out. Everybody should be aware and have the tools and be able to use them. Call it out for themselves.
Adam's right, because that's how I learned. And there's new people out there, and they're learning the scientific method this past week or two. You ain't kidding.
Internationally, I mean, look at all Flat Earth are doing his streams, and
exactly
these other people in other countries that we don't even know about.
Enid Grand.
It's not bad because if it was petty arguing, I wouldn't be involved. You know, and I don't think offers would be. We're not arguing over nonsense. Yeah, there was a point of valor, but even that you conceded, Nathan. Yeah, you weren't asked about it fundamentally. The point you wanted was, does science have the ability to prove things? And yes, it does. Yeah, the method and the way we employ it can prove things to us. And that was more important than the scammer title. And that's why everybody's on board because, and look at the effect it's causing, standing up for that point. Look who's opposing it. Look at how silent the ballers are. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's a scary point. It's a great point. Because that's the tool for you to move forwards, not have to keep going over some of the old stuff. We're sharpening everybody's blade with it.
It's a shame that when the commenter says, steel sharpens steel or whatever he remarked, in other words, you've got to scrape
In the
against
scriptures,
Jaren.
Nathan, it's iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron, that's the one.
From the scriptures, yes.
Right. Well, yeah, but at the end of it, once you've rubbed up against Jaren, you'd hope that he'd get sharper. Right, that's the idea.
Yeah, but iron has to sharpen iron. You're iron, he's freaking lead.
Yeah.
Oh, so what you're saying he isn't the right material to begin with?
Correct. Iron sharpens iron, not iron and lead head.
That looks bad on me. Hold on. That means that looks bad on me. Other than that would mean my only reason to go for Jaren and to hopefully educate an audience in this regard was a poor decision because he's not the right material to do it with.
No, you're trying to educate him and teach him so he can become iron, so then you can sharpen yourself off of him. Right now, you can't.
Right.
You presumed he was iron. You presumed he was iron.
Exactly. Presupposed.
Well, yes, we do presuppose.
That was hysterical. That morning when I heard that, I almost fell out of my chair.
They always do that when they've got no one up against them, laughing at them and pointing out their stupidity as they say it. They get into the role, and normally, because they're doing it on camera, their focus is on the videography. You can tell. They're concerning themselves with the actually making the video, turning it into a thing where they talk. But then they forget about actually controlling their own lips and say things like, well, yes, of course it's a presupposition. His exact words were, Nathan Oakley says we've got to assume the Earth is a sphere. Well, yes.
Nathan, that's not by accident. I'm telling you, it's not by accident. That happens on purpose. It's the confessional debating. This is like slipping it in under your noses with a straight face. It's a tactic. That it really assumes that their public is very stupid.
No, I think Nathan's right. They're not paying attention. They're trying to do the video, and their lips just get loose.
I'm telling you.
Or is it that some of them are comfortable with saying, because we all know that they have to pre-assume or presuppose, right? So maybe it's that some of them are comfortable in saying it while others fight it and say, we just know, right? But then you get those that are like, yeah, we presuppose it, and then that's how we know what it is because we've presupposed it.
No,
I was
we can't presuppose because it's been proven. See?
Well, see, I was comfortable in presupposing and assuming as long as the horizon matched up with 1.22 times the observer's height in feet. Like, I was okay with, calculating it from that dip angle correction.
Yeah, but you can calculate that. You just can't actually see it. Can't see the geometric.
That's the bad math, John. That's the math they don't like.
The apparent.
That's the equation they don't like. They love their equations, right? But that one's a problem. They don't like that one.
Right, because it represents actual visual data and all that, and they can't use that. They just need that to derive their math from. That is all.
Even though it's their equation.
They put surface level and draw it straight line. I just
I'm
didn't see
glad
it.
you said straight lines. You see what I'm doing right now? I have to run a straight line. There is no way. that I
No,
can
Neil,
do
those
these
stairs are
sections
curved.
And no, I can't run a curve, Chocolate. It's got to be a straight line.
No,
As you see.
I say curved stairs.
Well, they say, I don't realize it, but I'm getting my mark from the center of the earth. This is what they tell me.
That's dope.
Well, I missed. I walked away.
Nothing. I've got loads of noise in my background, so as soon as there's a gap in that noise, I'm going to round out.
No.
5 more hours.
8 more
Soup
hours.
sandwich. Soup sandwich.
Yeah, I've just done a load of, while we were chatting, a load of research on YouTube, if you can call it that. And every single time somebody's lowering the power limits, they're not undervolting. And whenever they're undervolting, they're not adjusting the power limits. So maybe that was my mistake. Undervolting and reducing the power limit. Okay.
Nathan, this big.
I have no idea what you said just now, to be honest with you. But this picture that's up here right now, what is that?
What?
This picture that's up here right now that I see with you, like through like a robot looking thing. What the hell was that?
That's
past.
That's Johnny Depp.
No.
Yeah, as soon as I got your attention, it changed the picture.
Okay.
It was the previous picture.
Okay, so that's a picture of me up Taipei 101 when it was at the time the tallest building in the world. And at the top of the tower, that little figure that you can see is the mascot that represents the counterlever, like a giant pendulum that sits inside Taipei 101. Now, what that counterbalance does is swing the opposite direction to counterbalance an earthquake. So if there's an earthquake, as the whole building swings one way, this giant dangling counterbalance swings the other way. Make sense?
Yep.
That's Taipei 101 on screen now. So that's me at the top of Taipei. If you can probably see in the background the writing giving an indication of the counterlever, but that's the mascot that looks a bit like the giant springy thing that's suspended, and you can walk around it, and it's probably the building the bit of the building that it's in when you walk around it is a gantry, and you can obviously look down where it's dangling, and it's probably from one side to the other of this gantry that's circular all the way around it is probably 40 feet, and you can just
So
walk
what?
all the way
So they
around
got
it.
it hanging down like what they do with the food called pendulum?
Yeah,
Like
it's just dangling
in
down.
the middle of the building.
Yeah, it's just dangling. It's just a giant dangling pendulum that is there to counterbalance the building in an earthquake. And essentially, it's completely static all the time until there's an earthquake. And then, obviously, when you're in that building, you can look up on YouTube people who've been on that gantry when an earthquake's gone off, and they're just watching the pendulum swinging back and forth.
Huh. Interesting.
So if the Earth moves beneath you,
Yep.
Go on, Adam. I only put that picture so that this conversation would naturally come up. Don't start it and then not finish the sentence.
well, I genuinely expected a cacophony after that point.
How many stories is the building? 100.
Funny that. So when the Earth
Actually moves, right? You came in broken up. You wanna go? You can go ahead.
He left.
He left. Okay. So when when the Earth actually moves, which we have a name for, we call it earthquake, that actually starts the pendulum moving on
Yes.
its own.
Yes.
Hmm.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loud and
How,
clear.
how many stories is that building?
How many stories is Taipei 101?
101? Stories?
Yes. Not the tallest building by any means now. Obviously, that picture when I was looking really, really youthful was a very long time ago.
Where did you say that building was again?
Taiwan.
Oh, it's in Taiwan. All right.
Like chocolate. How tall is the Empire State Building? Not that that's the tallest. Isn't that only 100? 100 and what?
I don't know offhand. To be honest.
Minimum of 100. Because before the Twin Towers, rest in peace, everybody. But it was the tallest at the time. Then there's one in Chicago. That's supposed to be one of the tallest.
Isn't it now the Burj Khalifa or something like that? Isn't that like the tallest one?
All right, looks like this dead air is going to be my. Oh no, Adam's about to present to me, saved by the Adam Meakin.
I am, but my Chinese takeaway is about to arrive, so I'm about to ditch after this. I was just having a little look at it. This is cool. I've only seen the first 5 seconds of it. Looks cool, so I'll press play.
So what they're all doing is going, wow, it's moving. And as far as they're concerned, it's the pendulum moving, right? In reality, the entire building shaking.
Right, it's the counterbalance, the counterbalance the motion, and thereby limiting the amount of vibration it's going to be enduring. So it's literally a counterbalance for the shaking of the building from the winds.
That's cool as shit.
No, not from the winds.
To be honest,
It's not for winds. It's for earthquakes.
But time out. So that
All of
right
it.
there,
Also,
right there was an earthquake
buildings
happening.
vibrate from the wind. They definitely
Yes,
do. The
they-
ones that stick out.
They may do, but let's just focus on the point. This effect on this pendulum is caused by the Earth moving underneath in a 6.8 Richter scale, whatever that means, earthquake, yeah?
Holy
So-
crap. That was 6.8 on the Richter scale.
that's pretty serious, man. That's not nothing.
Yeah, but then it's very small compared to the claims of the other forces that your non-moving pendulum is always subjected to. Would
Yeah.
prove a lot, just raises a question. But it does demonstrate that if you do move the Earth underneath, it will have an effect. There's no need for a mechanical device at the top, is there? To regulate it.
Is there a giant gyroscope in there or something, or is it just a weight?
Massive weight.
Have you ever seen a pendulum like they have a set rate to them, but if you get 6 of them and you start them all out of sequence, right, and then you put it on on a plate, and then put that plate on a roller, their own motion will sync them up.
Right.
I've seen that effect. I found that very interesting when I've
So
seen
that's
that before.
cymatics. That's because of cymatics resonance. If
What?
they're the same shape and all that, right? The clicking, the vibration, the sound coming off it, it has a certain pattern, and if it all moves together, then it starts to lock in. It's like a lineup effect because of the vibrations.
I don't know if I'd go that far claiming that, but I can't
It's
tell you
kind of
that.
crazy. Yeah, but it's kind of crazy that they've done it with like I don't remember what the hell that's called, with the little ticker that goes back and forth, and they'll start it off, right, all of them off in different different patterns, and then they all sync up somehow or another later. It's kind of crazy when you see it.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
guys.
Well,
I've
I
just had a
think
message
that's
from Witsit.
cymatics, in your
Just had a
opinion.
message. It says, I told you all along, you complete bunch of idiots. Obviously, the synchronization of pendulums proves ether. Love Witsit. Oh, well, isn't that nice?
Alrighty then. I'd rather call it like quantum locking or something. Nah, it's not quantum locking. But maybe
Obviously.
more like the same effect as colloidal suspension. I mean, it's just a cymatic resonance, sound waves, similar patterns. Like if it's out of step with the resonance that's coming off one of them, then it'll influence it just slightly. And until they eventually stop interrupting each other, and then it's all synchronized.
Can't resonate through nothing. They'd still synchronize in a vacuum. It's ether.
Do they?
They would still synchronize in a vacuum.
Hold on, I want to know
They
that.
would, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's not the air. It's not the air pressure that's causing them to sync up, or you would just be able to set them next to each other and they would sync up.
Okay, well then it might be electric. I mean, clashing metal maybe.
No. Not electric.
What the hell is it then?
Electrostatic.
No. Magnetic, electric, something. Something has to be causing that. Can't just line up without any connection. It's not like telepathy or anything, right?
You stick a load of women in a room long enough, they'll all menstruate at the same time.
That is interestingly true as well.
Telepathy.
Yeah,
too.
I've heard that.
Because they're sentient, you can't have telepathy. They can synchronize, right? If we're talking about metal balls, they don't exactly have a palpable sentient spirit to synchronize. So what is
True.
synchronizing? Something has to be synchronizing.
Adam, I want to go back to your clip. On your clip, I hear a bunch of people. Is that an active earthquake on that video clip?
Yes.
Adam?
Well, that's what it says on the title.
6.8. Wow.
I mean, that building is probably one of the most secure buildings in the entire region when it comes to earthquakes.
It's just funny how this particular building that's got a giant pendulum has never been brought up before.
I think other buildings.
One that actually starts moving without needing to be started.
I think
Started by what, Chocolate? What starts it moving without you needing to start? What's the thing that starts it moving?
Pendulum.
Yeah, what starts the pendulum moving without you starting it in this case?
It's Coriolis.
The earth moving underneath it.
Ah. Bit of a bugger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do I find this clip? What time is it?
What?
Time for your beauty nap, Jikey.
Medication time,
Yeah,
I think.
What timestamp is it?
Oh, the
I've
time
posted
stamp.
it in Master B. So it's there. Right, I'm off for my Chinese. I will
Can't
see
say
you guys
globals
later.
don't like us.
Hold on, I gotta tell you guys what
Nathan,
happened
you
today.
don't have any sound, Nathan, just for the record.
Hold on, I gotta tell you guys what happened today real quick. My brother drops me off at the Long Island Railroad today, like 5 o'clock in the morning. As we pull up, there's this dude sitting on a bench and he's just giving us the finger. So my brother opens the window, he goes, "Why are you giving us the finger?" He says, "Because my God is the moon and the sun. Jesus is dumb." We didn't even say anything. So there's something in the air. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's heliocentrism.
He gave you the
Everybody's
finger
possessed.
and said, "My God is the moon and the sun." Okay,
Just like that.
thanks, bro.
I'll have my brother Chris testify to that. He looked at it, I was like, really? I said, well, we just so happen to be Christian. And my brother's crazy, started yelling, "Get out of him, Satan!" And the guy got really riled up. He was wobbling back and forth. He goes, "You calling me Satan? Jesus is dumb. My God is the moon and the sun."
Alrighty then.
What's all the preaching?
It was
I'm
insane.
amusing.
And then
my
I thought I
audience
was
with
going
my
to have to
daughter
hit
on
him
that.
because
I'm
now
gonna
I got to
round out
go
any
take the
minute, so
train. My brother pulls
you hear
away,
me?
and
Any
he's
last
freaking
points?
getting really close
Hello?
to me.
Can you hear me? Got any last points? Well, my kid's making so much noise I can't hear you
Hello?
anymore. Make any last points you've got, because I'm going to round out.
Heroes is giving us
Great
his
show,
family.
Nathan. I loved it. Soup sandwich is real. Just for the record.
The moon and the sun.
Later, guys.
There, indeed.
All right, y'all.
Sorry, man.
Okay, right. Whether or not my daughter allows me to do this round out, I don't know, but we'll give it a go. With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in live on the Members Only live stream, and for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a member if you're watching this after the fact. Hey, you're doing really well, Clover. You'll actually let me do this intro or outro. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll take my chances, keep the intro short, and I'll see you all, or outro short. You can tell it's been a long night. I'll see you all in the next video.
Bye bye.